What's going on, guys? FlyBy Simulations here, and welcome back to yet another video on the channel. Today, as you can see by the title and thumbnail of the video, we're diving deep into the latest Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 developer livestream, a comprehensive session where the team at Asobo and Microsoft laid out their plans for patches, tackled pressing issues that are currently plaguing the sim for all of you guys that know, and shared some insights into what's coming in 2025. Now, if you've been frustrated with the sim's rocky start, which a lot of people have, then this video is for you because it not only talks about what we can expect going into the future, but also talks about how things that have been broken are going to be fixed by the team in the interim. Now, this video did take quite a bit of time to put together because this stream happened this morning and I was taking notes throughout it, and then I had to develop a script and stuff like that. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more such content going into the future as well. With that all said, a quick word from our sponsor for this video and then everything Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, long-term viewers of the channel might know that I'm not much of a bush pilot or GA aircraft flyer. I love flying large airliners, which usually involves long periods of time where I put the plane on cruise and just kind of sit there. So instead of rotting in front of my monitor for hours on end, I prefer to go out and do things, whether it may be a run, doing my laundry, enjoying a meal outside, but there's always that lingering feeling about how my flight is doing, whether it's all peaceful or if I'm in an uncontrolled nosedive about to kill all of my passengers. Well, with today's sponsor, Asobo Remote, you don't have to worry anymore. Asobo is a free-to-download application software from macOS, Windows, and Android that allows you to remotely control your PC using your phone. As can be seen here, I can monitor my flight, control the cameras, and even move things around as needed without having to be anywhere near my monitor. As a content creator, I get great peace of mind when I can monitor the status of my video being rendered on my editing software, and having the ability to upload videos to YouTube without physically being at my desk or computer is an absolute godsend. The app does allow keyboard customization as well as mouse support, and can also support games up to 144 FPS. Once again, that's Asobo Remote, and you can find out more by clicking on the link in the description section of the video. Alrighty folks, so to kick things off, Jörg Newman, head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, didn't hold back in addressing the frustrations surrounding MSFS 2024's launch. Let's just say the term awful launch experience came up more than once. So what went wrong? Surprisingly, the servers actually weren't the issue. It was the CDN, or the Content Delivery Network, that completely buckled under the pressure. Now for context, the CDN acts as a middleman between the servers and us, the users. So on day one, the system was hit with a staggering 100 billion package requests, and yes, that number was indeed quoted. Pre-launch stress tests with 200,000 simulated users clearly didn't prepare the infrastructure for the actual demand, and of course the result of that was that people were stuck in loading screens, the 97% gang as you guys might have known, experiencing missing textures, or straight up getting kicked out of the sim altogether. So yes, the be-all and end-all of this entire thing is to suggest that the servers actually housing all of the information weren't the problem. It was this middleman content delivery network that was just basically not able to process as many requests from us, the users, to that server. Now, the good news from the team is that they have swapped to a more robust CDN in the interim, which has boosted stability to an impressive 99.999% uptime. They even showcased graphs highlighting error spikes and the eventual resolution of this. As you can see, there's quite a few spikes that go up and down, and when they actually came up with fixes to this, the spikes have indeed flattened. As of now, these skies are looking smoother. Personally, for me as well, I've not had many problems. There's some full flights that are also going to be coming to the channel, so subscribe for that. And so that begs the question, what's next? The team has been hard at work delivering fixes. They've already rolled out 2 patches since launch. The first one was a bit of a hot fix that came out around a week and a half ago, and the second patch actually came out on December the 2nd, which was only a couple days ago. These patches primarily focused on stability and edge case crashes. Next up is actually going to be patch 3, however, which is slated for a December 10th or December 12th release, pending certification and all of that kind of stuff from their end. This one's a heavy hitter, which is going to be addressing the following few important things. Number 1, airport lighting bugs. So certain edits weren't showing up correctly, and patch 3 promises a fix for this. Number 2 is career mode turbulence issues. So a lot of people have reported issues with wind and turbulence in various different career mode scenarios, which should also be fixed with patch 3. There's also the Cessna 172 electrical system. So a lot of people on the Cessna 172 on the analog version of the plane weren't able to access the electrical system. A pretty basic flaw if you think about it, but that is also going to be fixed in patch 3. And finally, VR users canvas rejoice because the VR toolbar and EFB should now be available in the VR window, which for some reason wasn't showing up for a lot of people. Patch 3 also promises to fix that. Now, what's exciting is the flexibility introduced with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Unlike MSFS 2020, updates for aircraft, career mode, and world improvements can now all be delivered server-side without requiring full sim updates. So you don't even have to actually update the sim. You guys might have already noticed this with the previous 2 patch updates. A full sim update will be coming later down the line, which is going to progressively update several things in the sim which might require an update, but all of these hotfixes and changes, unlike MSFS 2020, can be done completely server-side without you having to worry about it. Speaking of sim updates, they have promised these sim updates will be starting in Q1 of 2025, and then every quarter after that, which is every 3 months or so, there should be a new sim update coming out for MSFS 2024. So that's the kind of cadence of sim updates, if you guys were wondering. Now, one of the most contentious topics in the flight simulation space ever since the launch of MSFS 2024 has been the streaming debate, whether we have to continue streaming everything or can we actually download things locally on our computer, especially things that we use often. So first of all, Sebastian Vlock, Asobo CEO, actually broke down why this was a necessity rather than a choice with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in the first place. MSFS 2024's total content weighs in at a mind-boggling 1.5 terabytes, and this was news to me as well. I didn't know it was this big. For those of you that want to compare, MSFS 2020's install was just 150 gigabytes, so it's pretty obvious then that streaming allows users to access only what they need in those specific situations that they're flying in, drastically reducing download times and storage requirements. For those wondering why they can't just download everything, Seb did explain that the average user streams about 18 gigabytes in around 3 hours of gameplay, because once everything gets pushed into your rolling cache, you're not really downloading many things apart from, say, the live weather, as well as some of the Sims services like, say, multiplayer or career mode and stuff like that in the background. Downloading the entire sim would not only take days, but would also require an enormous 1.5 terabytes of disk space, which not a lot of people have and not a lot of people want to part with either. That said, the team is working on solutions for players with limited bandwidth, which include the following 3 fixes primarily. That is coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which I'm super excited about because, yes, I agree that not everything can be downloaded onto my PC, but there are certain aircraft that I might be able to purchase from the marketplace or some default aircraft even that I fly often enough that I want to have locally available at all points of time instead of waiting a while for it to be streamed and for the FPS to actually just settle down and stuff like that. So I'm happy that this is coming. The second fix that they're going to be implementing to help with this is the optimization of the rolling cache, which is already 80% efficient according to them, but does have room for improvement. And the final thing is to allow users to pre-install content when traveling to areas with poor internet connectivity. Say you want to take a vacation to a different country where you're not going to have as much internet as you do right now, you can go ahead and download certain airports and sceneries and stuff like that and put it into your rolling cache so that when you do take those vacations, you don't have to sit there with crappy internet and basically wait for those things to install. It's not perfect, but the system's design is meant to balance accessibility with practicality, and they were saying this multiple times. So there is not going to be a one-stop shop solution to allow you to completely download everything onto your systems, but hopefully this is a good middle ground that we can move on from. Next up then, let's talk performance. If you've noticed frame drops or blurry textures, well, you're not alone. The team identified several culprits for this problem, starting with VRAM overload, which seems to be a primary problem for a lot of people. When your GPU exceeds its VRAM capacity, the sim struggles to swap data between the RAM, which is your actual memory, your random access memory, and your video RAM, which is your VRAM, leading to severe FPS drops in the process. The upcoming patch will introduce a warning system to alert users when they're nearing VRAM limits, similar to the low bandwidth notification that some of you guys might be getting. Now, some of the other performance fixes that are going to be coming in the very near future include the following. Number one is LOD popping and low quality textures. LOD, for those of you guys don't know, stands for level of detail, which shows the clarity of the various textures and the texture maps that you're going to be seeing in the sim. These were initially linked to the actual CDN issues that we talked about, the content delivery network, the middleman, but could also result from corrupted local data or memory fragmentation. Now, this was pretty interesting to me. Basically, what they're saying here is that if you guys downloaded the sim way back in the day and haven't since reinstalled the simulator, your first few attempts to be able to get those high quality quality textures might have resulted in that content delivery network not being able to get you those textures, basically corrupting those requests. So what they're recommending is actually just go ahead and reinstall the sim, and now that the sim is in a better state, the CDN will be able to deliver those higher quality textures for you, thereby overriding that corruption in the first place, something along those lines. On the other hand, console players are also advised to restart the sim regularly to avoid these issues from taking place. Another performance fix that should be coming in the near future is an Xbox memory crash fix. So recent patches have optimized how mesh data is handled, reducing fragmentation and improving stability for long-haul flights. So if you guys have noticed on long-haul flights your FPS procedurally worsens, well, that should also be improving, especially for Xbox users. Now, if you're still experiencing issues on top of all this, the team does recommend ensuring your rolling cache is set up correctly, and in extreme cases, performing a full reinstall. Now, they did say extreme cases, but in my opinion, a reinstall doesn't hurt, especially now that the client is relatively thin and you don't have to install like 200 gigabytes of something. You can just install 11 gigabytes and everything else will be streamed. So might as well do that. Next up then, let's talk about the community wishlist and some bug fixes. The community wishlist featured prominently during the stream, with the team addressing several highly requested items. Now, I've left the entire stream linked down in the description section of the video if you guys want to check it out, but these were some of the more prominent items discussed during the stream that I'm going to be talking about. Number one is unencrypted default aircraft. Essentially, to prevent cheating in career mode, default planes are currently encrypted for developers, and basically nobody can go and tweak the settings of the different planes. However, the team is exploring ways to unencrypt them for free flight use specifically, so they will still be encrypted for career modes, but on the other hand, this can benefit modders and third-party developers in the process. Number two, as we spoke about, is optional cloud streaming. So while it's impossible to eliminate streaming entirely thanks to the 3 petabyte world data and the 1.5 terabyte size of the actual local install like we talked about, they're working on solutions to minimize the actual cloud streaming required by introducing larger rolling caches and permanent installations for specific content. And finally, number three is improved Bing data updates. A lot of people seem to be having a problem with Bing data, saying that it's not up to date, especially in certain parts of the world. Well, Bing Maps operates on a 3-year rotational contract, which explains why some areas do feel outdated. The good news, however, is that the latest Bing data was used for MSFS 2024, and updates will continue into the future as well, with the latest contract being renewed this year. So hopefully we should see some new data starting in 2025. On top of all this, the team also quickly addressed some quirky bugs like excessive trees and vegetation. So some vegetation masks and biome settings are being fine-tuned in the process, and hopefully we see a patch or an update to fix these in certain parts of the world. And that brings us to our penultimate section of the video: what's coming in 2025. Apart from just bug fixes and basically just improvements, are there any new features and new things that we can expect? Well, looking ahead, the team has shared an ambitious roadmap for 2025. Some of the highlights of this includes World Update 19, which is going to be focused on Brazil, with additional coverage for Guyana, French Guiana, and Suriname. Another pretty exciting update is that the team, after countless years of trying, has finally gone ahead and partnered with Embraer, which is the aircraft developer like Boeing or Airbus. Embraer is a pretty big one, and as a result, they've also promised some iconic Brazilian aircraft down the line. As I mentioned before, there's also going to be quarterly sim updates coming in 2025, with each update hopefully bringing significant improvements based on player feedback. As an apology for the rocky launch, the team will also be adding 4 planes to the base sim at no extra cost. Originally, these were being developed as a paid addition to the sim, but because of the launch and because of how bad the team feels, they're actually going to be including 4 new aircraft for free in the new sim. The first 2 are the Cessna 185F and the Palestina, with 2 more to be announced later on. And on top of this, there's also going to be 2 more surprise announcements that should be coming from the team at Microsoft and Asobo, so speculate away in the comments, and of course subscribe to the channel if you guys don't want to miss out when that information finally comes out. The final section of the stream before it concluded was working titles contributions to MSFS 2024 and what they have planned in the future as well. During the stream, they showcased updates to the enhanced flight planner, which now includes web integration, so now you can create, share, and load flight plans from a browser. They've fully integrated Lido and FAA charts for seamless planning, and they've also included group flight sharing, so you can easily share routes with friends via links. They've also made strides in avionics, which is what they've partnered with Microsoft to do originally, with updates to the Epic Apex 2 and UNS-1 systems. Developers can now take advantage of the new APIs for deeper customization, making MSFS 2024 an even richer platform for third-party add-ons. And there you pretty much have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was all of the updates updates condensed into however long this video is going to be. The original stream was around about an hour and 15 minutes, and I diligently sat down and took notes throughout it. So if you guys did enjoy this little recap video, and if you guys are excited about the future of MSFS 2024, regardless of how pessimistic you want to be, please don't blame the messenger. If you like this video, do smash that like button, as well as subscribe to the channel for more such content in the future. With that all said, guys, thanks for watching, and thanks for flying by.